Hello friends, welcome to Code's Laboratory. In this video we will discuss about variables in Java. Let's go through the definition. It says the variable is the basic unit of storage in the Java program. A variable is defined by the combination of an identifier, a data type and an optional initializer. In addition, all variables have a scope which defines their visibility and a lifetime. There are three types of variable in Java: local variable, instance variable, static variable. So let's try to understand this with the help of program. First we will discuss them theoretically and then we will do the practical on Eclipse. Explanation. So friends, if you wanted to create one variable in Java, you will have to create the variable in this way. So there are three things which we have written in this line. Let's try to understand. So what is int? Int is the data type, I is the identifier and 10 this is the value, and we call it initializer. It means whenever you want to create a variable in Java, so there will be one data type, one name which we call identifier, and there will be some value of that particular variable. So let's try to understand this more with the help of program. So this is the example one, and I have tried to explain here about local variable. So here I have created one local variables class and also created one main method, and if you will see, I have written one comment local variable because it has created inside the method int I is equals to 10 system.out.println value of I is plus I. So if we will try to extract the output of this program, so the output will be 10. As you can see, I have created one class, and then in that class I have created one main method. In the main method I have created one local variable. So whatever variable we create in any method, we call them local variable. So let's move to the instance variable. To understand this, I have created one class called instance variables, and as you can see, I have created this variable inside the class, not inside the method. That's why we call this instance variable. And there is one more reason, that is why we call this instance variable. If you want to use this variable in your programming, you will have to create the instance of this class, then only you can use this variable in your programming. So let's see. As you can see, I have created main method, and in that main method I have created the instance of instance variables class, and the object name is object. So to access this variable we can use object.I, and then it will print the value of I. And as you can see here, we have override the value of variable I, and then we have print that. So let's try to find out what will be the output of this program. So first it will print 0, then in the next line it will print 10. Let's move to the static variable. We have created a static variable with the help of static keyword. It doesn't matter where you create the static variable. You can create the static variable inside the method, or you can also create the static variable inside the class, but you will have to use this static keyword before the data type of your variable. Let's try to understand this program and let's find out what will be the output of this program. As you can see, I have created one class static variables and create one static variable int I, and this is the main method. As you can see, to use the static variables we have referenced directly our class name. See, static variables dot I. The reason behind this is you can directly use this variable like this, as this is static variable and our main method is also static. So the static variable will directly used into the static method. So this program will work fine if we will use this, but I will suggest you to always use static method and static variables with the reference of your class name. So let's go to the Eclipse and try to execute all these programs. Okay, but before going to the Eclipse, let's find out what will be the output of this class. So the output will be 0 for this program. Don't worry, if you are new to Java, might be you will not understand how the output will be a 0. As you can see, we haven't initialized any value in a static variable. Don't worry, in this session I will tell you. Let's go to the Eclipse. Okay, as you can see, here is our local variable class. So let's try to understand how local variable behaves. In the main method, we have created one local variable I is equals to 10 and we have printed here. Then we override the I variable and we place the value 20. Let's try to execute this program first. Okay, so as you can see, it says value of local variable is 10 and then it says value of local variable is 20. So guys, just remember, whenever you are creating the variable first time, then define the data type of that variable. But if you have already done that, then for the next time you do not need to mention the data type again and again. You can simply use it and you can override. So this is our local variable. So let's go to the instance variable. Okay, so over here we have created instance variable. So as you can see, I have created the object of instance variables class and we have directly used this variable with the reference of object. And let's try to execute this program. Okay, so it says value of instance variable is 0 and value of instance variable is 10. It means initially the value of I was 0. You must have got confused like why it is saying the value of I is 0 as we have not initialized any value. So let me tell you that Java itself has one constructor. When you compile the program, compiler will check your code whether it is having any compile time error or not. Once the program get compiled completely and there is no error, the compiler will create one .class file and the compiler will add one default constructor in your class, and that will look like this. As you can see, my constructor is having name same as our class. So this is the rule implemented by Java people. If you wanted to create any constructor, you will have to keep the name same as it is class. So let me tell you how this I print 0 value. So whenever you create the object of any class, constructor will be called, and in this constructor this value will be initialized with the default value which Java has for the data type of int. So let me show you. Let's create another variable int j and another variable float f and put the semicolon, and we will create another variable boolean b. Let's try to call all these variables in our program. Object dot j, object dot f, object dot b. Let's try to execute this program. As you can see, it says the value of j is 0, the value of float data type is 0.0, and the value of and the default value of boolean data type is false. So when you create the object of any class, the default constructor will be called by default and all the instance variable will be initialized with their default value. But if at the creation of variable, if you will initialize it with some value, the value will not be override, and when we use this value, the default constructor will not override that value. Let's take an example with this, and we will put f is equals to 10.5 f, and let's try to execute this program. So as you can see, the value of j is still 0 as we have not given any value, and value of f is 10.5. Default value of boolean data type is false, and as you can see, initially we have given value 10 to I, and then we override it again with 10, so the value will be 10 again. So this is the instance variables. When you will create the object, you will be able to use all those variable, or with the help of default constructor, these all instance variable will get initialized and we can use them. Let's move to the static variable. So guys, let's try to execute this program and then we will discuss that. So it says static variable dot I is equals to 0. So might be after going through of this program, you will have one question in your mind. In the earlier program, in the case of instance variables, the instance variables will be initializing because we were creating the object, and as I have told you, at the time of creating the object calls the default constructor, so the instance variable got initialized. But static variable, we are not creating any object, then how it is giving us value of I is 0. So guys, let me tell you, whenever you create any static variable in your program, when the program gets compiled by the compiler, it creates the default constructor, as I have told you in my earlier example, like this. Okay, let's copy this and place this. So it creates one default constructor like this, and it also creates one default static block like this. And in this default static block, all the static variables will be initialized as per their data types. Whatever default values Java has provided to any particular data type, that will be initialized. Let me show you. If we will write the value I is equals to 10, and as you can see, we haven't called this static method in our program. Let's try to execute. As you can see, now the static variable value is 10. Whenever you create any static variable, it get initialized through static block, and whenever you try to compile or execute your program, at the first it will execute all the static blocks, then it will execute your main method. And if you have create some object of this class, then it will execute the constructor. And there is one more thing, I have told you, you can use the static variable in static method without the reference of your class name. So let's try to execute that also, and as you can see, we got the value. But guys, remember, always use the class name reference with your static variables. So let's go back to our PPT. Okay, so we have understood each and everything. So this was all for this video. If you have any queries, do let me know while writing in the comment section. If you like the video, please like, share and subscribe.